Everybody to Staying Fit at Home. Today we have Robin and Simon from Honsberger Physio to share some information with us. So let's get started.
Hi, everybody. My name's Robin Honsberger. Very excited to be here with you all tonight. We've got a packed house. Just a few housekeeping items before we really get started. We've got a great session planned for you guys tonight, but we'd really love it to be super interactive. So if you guys have any questions, there is a chat function in this Zoom call that you're more than welcome to type your question into that portion. I will be monitoring the chat throughout the duration of the presentation and asking questions on your behalf. Or if you're more comfortable, you're very welcome to unmute yourself and ask the question at any time. Again, we will be dedicating some time to questions at the end of the presentation, but if there's anything that comes up while we're talking, please feel free to raise your hand and we will definitely address that at the time. So for those of you who don't know us, Honsberger Physio Plus is all about helping build a better you. Whether you have a new injury, you want to take your game to the next level, or you're simply finding it harder to move than you used to, we're committed to helping you feel better, live better, perform better, and work better. We believe that personal empowerment is key to living a healthy life. We've got locations in Markham, Aurora, Burlington, Stouffville. We also offer home visits, and we have a number of corporate clients that we do a lot of work for. Apotex, Sanofi Pasteur, the Toronto Cricket Club, Ovenbird Golf Club, and new to the Honsberger family is William Osler Health Systems, which is super exciting. So the subject matter expert here tonight is Simon Chow. I will not claim to be a subject matter expert, but we do have Simon who has prepared a great presentation for you all this evening. Simon is not only a registered massage therapist, but also a certified athletic therapist. So he's got a breadth of knowledge. Simon went to the University of Manitoba and graduated with a Bachelor of Kinesiology, specializing in athletic therapy. He became an athletic therapist in 2012, and then he pursued an additional credential standing of advanced massage therapy with the Ontario College of Health and Technology and became a fully certified registered massage therapist in 2015. I'm super excited to have Simon on our team. He joined us in August of this past year, and he's really just grown and shines and takes amazing care of his clients. And I'm really excited for him to share his knowledge with you today. So without further ado, I'm going to pass things over to you, Simon.
Thank you, Robin. Hello, everyone. Good evening. Thank you for having me here tonight. I'm very happy to talk about the importance of exercises and how to stay fit at home at this difficult time. Gyms are closed and sporting events are canceled, so I really hope my ideas can help all of you to stay fit at home so that we get through this pandemic together. Okay, so motion is life. So according to Hippocrates, which is a Greek doctor, had already understood the importance of exercises more than 2,000 years ago. The pandemic has forced us to become more sedentary than ever. Our lifestyles has been badly disrupted by the pandemic. Many of my friends and neighbors gained weight during this time. My parents are moving slower and weaker. Their balance has got worse. My 4-year-old daughter started to develop a hump in her back because she's on her tablet every day watching YouTube. My clients have been complaining about the work from home idea is not that fun after all. So the workstation is not properly set up so that they have a lot of aches and pains here and there. Everyone is stuck at home with very little exercises. So I really hope the presentation will help us to understand the importance of exercises and how it can impact our lives if it's done right. Okay, can you go to the next slide, please? So there's 4 major components of exercises. Most of us do not know exercise is actually a form of stress to our body. I did not know that until I went to athletic therapy school in University of Manitoba. So exercise is actually a positive stressor to our body. Proper dosage of exercise can stimulate our cell growth. It stimulates human growth hormones in the cellular levels. Promotes longevity by improving our cardiovascular health, brain function, circulation, or even joint health. More importantly, it improves immunity. It makes us more resistant against pathogens. And all these combined is going to increase our likelihoods to survive.
Sorry to interrupt, Simon. I just received a message from someone saying, they couldn't see the slides. Is that happening for everybody on the call right now, or is it just one of the members?
I think it might just be her, Robin.
Okay.
Yeah, because I can see the slides and a couple of other
I'll
people.
send you a private message to help you out with that. And then, sorry about that, Simon, we can carry on. I just want to make sure everybody else can see them. Sorry about that.
No problem. I can see that still. All right, so basically in the kinesiology perspective, we identify 4 major kinds of exercises. There are endurance exercise, strength exercise, balance, and flexibility. So we're gonna dive into every single one of them immediately. Next slide, please. So endurance exercises. So most people would kind of interpret endurance exercises as aerobic exercise. So there are 2 major types of fuel system in our body. So aerobic versus anaerobics. So the major differences between the two is the oxygen. So in aerobic system, we need to continue to inhale oxygen to generate the ATP, which is the energy unit to generate power during the movements, versus the anaerobic system that does not rely on any oxygen as energy production. So therefore, there are 2 subdivisions of anaerobic system. One is alactic, and then the other one is lactic. So alactic system is using the ATP existing in our bloodstream in a very, very limited amount. So it's usually very short-lived, probably just 20 seconds to 1 minute. And then our body is going to transition to a lactic system. We use our glycogen in our liver as a storage to produce the ATP. And this process is called glycolysis. So technically it gives more fuel to last close to 15 to 20 minutes. However, the byproduct of this process is lactic acids, which give us a lot of muscle soreness afterwards. After we use up all the glycogen stored in our liver, then we're gonna take the last step, which is we're going to an aerobic state. So which is under the aerobic system, we're not able to generate as much power as the anaerobic system, but we have more endurance to carry out low to moderate intensity exercises for a longer period of time. So that's why it's called endurance exercises. Since the oxygen is a part of the equation in the aerobic system, so endurance exercises are great to improve our respiration, strengthen our heart, and improve our circulation. It also prevents so many common diseases such as diabetes, colon cancer, breast cancer, heart disease. So how do we know if we have a healthy heart? So in recent years, more and more healthcare providers using a heart rate variability as the HRV as the marker to determine your well-being. So what is HRV? HRV basically is a measure of variation in time between each heartbeat. This variation is controlled by our autonomic nervous system, which we have no control over at all. But why do we care so much about the HRV is because people have a higher HRV, they tend to have a better cardiovascular health, and also they're more resilient to stress. Here's a simple test you can try to see if you have a good heart rate variability. So just start with a 2 minutes vigorous exercises such as jumping jack, fast running, or walking stairs. As soon as you stop the activity, your heart rate should stop at about 20 beats in the first minute. And then it may slow down to 15 beats per minute in the second and third minutes. So if your heart rate slows down slower than this rate, that means you have a very poor HRV. And that may indicate that you have to improve your cardiovascular fitness, or simply you're just too stressful in life, or both. So that's why a lot of cardio lovers, they see endurance exercises, it's a stress relief because it releases endorphins during the exercise, which will reduce the pain and makes them happy. So it's recommended to do it at least 150 minutes a week, but it usually includes walking, jogging, or even doing house chore. Okay, any questions so far? I know there's a lot of information.
I think we're good to move on.
You're good, right? Let's move on to endurance exercises.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's the list of example of endurance exercises. Brisk walking is one of my favorites. Just walking at a faster pace with a lot of arm movements. Nordic walking is relatively new, is walking with the poles in hands, and it's an exercise originated in Finland. It gives you additional benefits on improving upper body strength than conventional walking. It also claims that it will burn more calories than regular walking. But it's a really effective ways for to improve overall fitness for older adults. Dancing, swimming, biking, climbing stairs, hiking. Just try to do them at least 20 or 30 minutes a day in order to allow the aerobic system to kick in. Okay.
That's awesome. I think another one right now, people can kind of think about, especially in the winter, is perhaps snowshoeing or cross-country skiing as well. Just something
That's a
to
good
get
one.
outside.
Yeah.
Those ones are really great for overall endurance as well.
Yes, those are great. Okay, then we talk about the strength. So when we're talking about strength training, we would think about working out at the gym, lifting weights. But to keep it simple, strengthening exercise, also known as the resistance training, it's just any exercise that causes the muscle to contract against some external resistance. We expect to increase the strength, power, hypertrophy, or even endurance of the muscles. Improving muscle strength and power is just going to make your daily activities easier and safer. And it's a good way to prevent injuries. It's also good for improving bone density and resist osteoporosis. Just like muscles, bones is like a living tissue that responds very, very well to exercise by becoming stronger. Young people who exercise regularly generally achieve more bone density and strength than those who do not. For most of us, our bone mass reaches the maximum during the age of 30. After that time, we begin to lose bone. Regular strength training can prevent and slow down bone loss. Additionally, strength training can also help us to maintain muscle strength, coordination, and balance. Which in turn is going to help us to prevent falls or related fractures. This is especially important for older adults and people who have been diagnosed with osteoporosis. You may check out the link below. It has a lot of information about the relationship between exercise and osteoporosis. Since our muscle strength improves with resistance training, so your posture will also improve. You'll be less likely to have postural related injuries because your body is moving in the correct way and within the normal limits. Another surprising benefits of strength training is to show improvement in the cognitive function, including memory and reasoning. According to a recent Australian study, they recruited 100 participants ages from 55 to 86 years old. The group was assigned to a weight training for 12 months and showed significant improvements on cognitive tests. Strength training is generally recommended for 2 days a week, but it truly varies based on your needs. If you want to compete as a bodybuilder, you probably want to train 5 days a week. For average person like you and me, 2 days a week is good enough to maintain overall health. But one thing to keep in mind, always know your limits. Start from light weights and body weights and slowly progress to a heavier weights. Being too aggressive at the beginning within a very short interval rest, it's just going to eventually lead to catastrophic injuries. If you're not sure if your form is correct, always consult your physiotherapist or athletic therapist. They're expert on human movements and will help you to achieve your goals without putting yourself under risk of injuries. Okay, so here's examples of weight training. Body weight training basically is just using your body weight as resistant to your muscle contraction. That includes push-ups, squats, lunges, and planks. Weights, traditionally we call it dumbbells, barbells. It's not very easy to acquire during this time, especially the pandemic. It's very expensive and very space consuming. Resistant bands and TRX are my favorite. They're usually cheaper to acquire and will not take up a lot of space. Resistant bands are great for providing resistance throughout the range of motion. And TRX is a suspension training system, which helps to improve your strength and balance at the same time. Okay.
I think that's one of my my favorite things to use as well, Simon, is starting off with a body weight just to get yourself up to a certain strength level, and then introducing a resistant band and a TRX.
Yes,
That to me is my sort of my favorite kind of progression.
exactly. All right, let's talk about balance. So balance exercise is so important because we fall too frequently in Canada. Falls are one of the most common cause of injuries among the older Canadians. Every year is estimated 1 in 3 seniors aged from 65 years and older are likely to fall at least once. Almost 75,000 people require hospitalization because of the fall injuries. The consequences of falls later in life can be serious. Sometimes required hospitalization, reduced quality of life, chronic pain, injuries such as hip fractures, pelvic fractures, or even increase the risk of death. Younger people also suffer from a lot of poor balance issues. So we're now sitting more than ever. Poor posture, weak core strength have become more common in younger population as well. And poor balance also increases the risk of sports injuries. At our clinic, we do have like a movement screening with active population. We actually find a lot of high performance athletes. They do suffer from a lot of balance issues. So it's very important to improve your balance and proprioception if you want to improve your sports performance. Okay.
That's great. One quick question from one of the participants, Simon, is, are you able to explain what a TRX is? Maybe just describe what it looks like for the group, if you don't mind.
So TRX is basically just like a nylon strap with a couple of handles and a hook on the other end so that you tied it onto, you can have a hook mount on the wall, or you can tie it to your door frame. So basically you're holding onto that handle and you do all kinds of movements, such as you can do rowing, push-ups. It requires all balance, but again, it's very handy. You can take it everywhere, even traveling. It's not hard to spot. They always come in black and yellow color. I don't know, they have a newer color options. There's always black and yellow. It usually costs about $200, I believe, but it's something that will last forever and you can take it everywhere you like. So that's why I love it.
And the nice thing too for the group is TRX mainly uses your body weight. You know what I mean? So you can offset, if you don't have as much upper body or core strength, you can offset some of the resistance on the TRX system,
Yes.
or you can make it a lot harder by using far more of your body weight. So it's a really great tool. No matter how long you've been working out or what your strength level is, there's always ways to modify the exercise to make it a little bit easier or to make it a lot harder.
Yeah.
Hopefully that answers your question.
Sure. Okay, so here are the examples of balance exercises. We're pretty straightforward: Tai Chi, yoga, dancing, Pilates, unilateral training. So these exercises not only will improve your balance, but it also improve your strength and flexibility. So, and that's going to take us to the next slide, which is flexibility. So flexibility, we often refer flexibility as stretching. Stretching exercise are like a proven method to increase flexibility and muscle extensibility. There are several kinds of stretching, such as static stretching, which is holding your muscle in the stretch position for a extended period of time. We also have dynamic stretching, just like swinging the legs like a pendulum, or even PNF stretching. We use more in the clinical settings to improve range of motion in a short period of time. But I normally recommend static stretching to my clients because it's better at releasing muscle tension and decompress the tight joints. It also helps us to recover better after strenuous exercises. And more importantly, it's highly effective on stress relief when it combines with deep breathing techniques. Keep in mind, stretching exercises should feel like a very, very strong stretch, but not painful at all. If it's painful, if your brain receives the pain signal from the muscles, it actually will force you into contraction.
So it will make it worse if you go too far is what you're saying, right, Simon?
Exactly. Well, the rule of thumb is you shouldn't feel pain. You shouldn't feel painful at all. It should be very strong and comfortable, but it shouldn't be light. You know what I mean? Yeah, just don't hit the painful button. Yeah,
That makes sense.
yeah, don't challenge the brain, listen to your brain. Okay, so here are the examples of stretching exercises. Static stretching, as I mentioned, is great to release the muscle tension. It's usually used after the workout, after a long run, after a lot of weightlifting. This is a good option. Dynamic stretching is more for pre-workout or pre-sport events by triggering the stretch reflex. It increases the readiness of muscles and movements too. And yoga, I think, is just the perfect combo for flexibility, balance, even strength and mindfulness. So this is actually one of my favorite.
Now, Simon, if there was something we could do every single day, would you say that it would be focusing on our flexibility?
First of all, you have to identify why you're stretching. I've seen people coming in with, oh, I have a very tight hamstring. But when I do a single leg raise test, they're not tight at all. You know what I mean? So some people, they do not need like stretching, especially people who have a very, very flexible body. They probably need more strengthening, because if you strengthen your body, it's going to protect your joints.
Okay, so what
Yeah,
you're saying is it's all relative to the individual, and
exactly.
you
Yeah,
really should seek a professional's
yeah,
opinion when determining what activities you're doing and when.
exactly. But usually you cannot go wrong with stretching because we're all tight. We're all stuck in sitting.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, so the best get is just do it.
All right, I like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. So, okay, the importance of form. So why is form so important? How come everyone talk about, form, your form is problematic? Why do we care so much about form as a healthcare provider? It is because we tend to have improper forms and techniques when we're trying to lift heavy. And when we're learning a new movements, we tend to have bad techniques as well. We're also so eager to increase the muscle mass by lifting heavier because we did not realize, how sloppy a form can damage our body. If we're using proper form during the movement, we can totally reduce the chances of injuries. When we're lifting heavy weights, this can cause the body to misalign. That can place our tendons, our muscle and joints in position that potentially can cause strain and tear. So the rule of thumb here is to lower the weight if you're kind of swaying your body in order to lift the weight up. It's always better to lift lighter weight first than heavier ones because you tend to be less sloppy in the motion. Training in proper form can also give us a better result, waste less energy, and more importantly, improves the muscle balance. So for example, when we're doing a bicep curl, if we are swaying our whole body into the movements, chances are we're not working on our biceps, right? We're just working on our shoulder, we're working on our back, working on our core muscles. So we just don't get the result that we wanted. Using good form also help you to breathe better. Proper form can help and ensure proper breathing techniques during the reps and sets. This is essential for weight training exercises because it helps to generate more force and reduce the chances of heart problem, the severe increase in blood pressure. When you're using a correct form, you will be able to breathe the air in and out more freely because your thorax and vertebrae is in a neutral alignment.
Now,
Okay.
so would you say that form is more important than the quantity that you're doing? So if you
Exactly, totally agree.
if you lost your
yeah.
form, you should kind of either reduce the weight or do less reps.
Even without the weight, if you're doing a proper squat, you're gonna have a gain because your joint is activated. Your joint doesn't have any restriction on it, so circulation is good. So if you have a lot of joint problems, a lot of mobility issues, the brains actually deactivate the muscles. because they try to protect you, right? So,
Now, when we talk about proper breathing, can you please, one of the participants has asked, can you please advise what is the proper breathing technique while working out? I was told that when we inhale, the belly should expand to hold the air, but I'm not so sure you would agree with that.
I agree with the thorax should be expanding in different direction.
So can you maybe point to where the thorax is on your body? So
so this is the thorax. Okay, this is the diaphragm. This is the last floating ribs right here.
Okay.
Okay, so when we inhale, we're trying to force the diaphragm to go down so that it pushes the organs down. So it looks like you have a big belly. Yeah. I think the reason why people emphasize it so much is most of us, we breathe through the chest.
So that would be the incorrect. If we are breathing and our chest is rising, that would be incorrect. But you are right, Minnie, in your question about that's the right way to describe it. For people who don't know what a thorax is, should be holding the air in our belly and expanding the sides of our body. Breathing into our rib cage is really sort of the form we want to think about. And would you say it's in through the nose, out through the mouth, just nose breathing? Is there certain techniques we can do in order to breathe properly up top?
There's so many techniques. There's so many of them, you know. I usually like the 4-7-8 techniques, which is you breathe in 4 seconds, hold it for 7 seconds, and breathe out at 8. So that's how I really act. Slower. Yeah, I want to feel that stretch in my diaphragm. That's why I hold my breath for a while. When I'm breathing out very, very slowly. So the reason why we breathe out slowly is a lot of people, they actually don't breathe out all the way. Yeah, when you're breathing all the way out, you're actually activating your abdominal muscles. Yeah, a lot of people just focus on breathing in. They didn't realize they didn't empty their lungs. Yeah. Yeah, but actually when you're breathing out completely, you're strengthening your core.
All right, that makes sense for sure.
Yeah. All right, so these are the common poor forms that we see day to day. Most of these forms are simply related to our poor posture and sedentary lifestyle. Unable to maintain neutral spine is a very common one. Maintaining neutral spine is not an easy task. We must engage our core at all times. We need to have good mobility in the spine. If a person fails to maintain a neutral spine, it usually tells us that this guy has a lot of mobility issues and muscle imbalances. Hanging tummy, rounded shoulder, they're extremely common as well because we spend most of the time sitting. Canadian adults spend almost 10 hours of sitting during their waking time. So we're spending more and more time on screen, TV, cell phones, tablet. When we're texting or watching videos, playing video games, we're always sitting. So prolonged sittings force our shoulder to the round position and deactivate our core muscles and breathing. Sitting is also impedes our joint health. So we favor sitting over squatting. We even encourage our children to sit on a chair and play while they can actually squat down for a whole day without any effort. We also overuse our forearms, like typing a lot. So that's why our arms cannot supinate fully. You'd be surprised how many people cannot supinate their arms. And poor breathing is one of the most common dysfunction, just like we talked about. Prolonged sitting is in the stressful environment do not allow us to breathe properly. Plus, our forward head posture encourages us to take shorter breath and shallow breaths because the C3, 4, 5 nerve roots kind of innervate the diaphragm. So shallow breathing is actually the opposite of abdominal breathing. We use shallow breathing mostly when we're nervous and anxious. But when we breathe shallow, we recruit our back muscles or even the neck muscles to inhale. So that's why our neck and shoulders are always tight. We often overinflate through our rib cage. Like I said, we do not breathe out enough. We can do this for a short period of time when we're stressed out, but if we're doing it all day, it's actually going to cause a lot of problems.
I do tend to do that, especially if I am nervous or waiting for something.
Exactly.
Even
Yeah.
especially when you're talking and you're presenting and things like that, you don't
Mhm.
take the time to breathe properly. So there's a lot of things that can cause that
Yeah.
breathing pattern, I would say.
But don't get me wrong, shallow breathing is not a bad thing. It's just prepare for fight or flight. If you want to fight someone, definitely want to breathe shallow because that's how
Absolutely.
you focus. But you just don't want to stay in that state for too long, which is happening right now for everybody. Okay.
So this is one slide we wanted to highlight for everybody on the call. There are the topics that Simon has been talking about are all about getting back to being active and creating a well-rounded longevity plan and a strong body. There's lots of different proactive strategies along with exercise that will help lead to staying fit for life, staying fit at home. Simon talked about posture. So there's lots of different tools, including the posture arch, foam rollers, massage balls that can really get into some of those harder to reach areas and really help to reduce some of those restrictions and mobility issues that Simon was discussing. There also may be some needs for postural support. These are not necessarily braces, but they're training aids to help you develop further strength so you can become flexible and vice versa. And then we look at certain things, ergonomic tools related to our jobs, that if we focus on setting ourselves up properly in our jobs and our body is in a neutral position, we're going to be far more flexible and adaptable in the rest of our everyday life. So there are a lot of different proactive strategies out there, and consulting a medical expert, those individuals can give you some more self-care strategies to make sure you're doing the right thing for you. Would you agree with that, Simon?
Absolutely. I really love the arch and the posturematic. They're really changing all people's life.
Oops. I actually, I'm wearing my posture shirt as we speak right now. And I really find that even towards the end of the day, when I get more tired, these training tools really help to sort of help me reduce my injuries, breathe properly, and sit in the right position.
All right, so this is a statement written by Glycolysis. He's a very famous American physical therapist who developed the functional movement screening system. So he basically believes most of our muscle and joint problems that we have is just coming from problematic movements. So mobility problems are movement dysfunctions. They're probably the byproduct of inappropriate movements. Or they could be the result of poorly managed injury, physical stress, emotional stress, postural stress, or inefficient stabilization. So this statement pretty much summarized what we have discussed from the previous slides. We're not moving enough, we're not moving right. We all have bad posture, and we're all stressed. Yeah. Okay, so why are we become so immobile? So simply because we sit too much, right? Prolonged sitting gives us poor posture. Poor posture leads to stiff joints and muscle tightness. Then our breathing become compromised. This vicious cycle just go on until we develop injuries or premature aging. Average Canadians simply do not move enough. So we're moving less than what we think we are, right? So according to Statistics Canada, only 16% of Canadians are getting the recommended amount of physical activities. So, which is 84% of adults out there, they're not active enough. Okay, next slide, please. So how do we know if we have a mobility issue? So if you cannot perform the following exercises, you may already have a lot of poor mobility. So the exercise on the left is called the wall angel. It challenges several structures in here. It's a great test to see if you can maintain a neutral spine against the wall. A person with a forward head posture against the wall. It won't be able to stick their head against the wall. So some people may have overarched their lower back. It tells us that there may be some mobility issues here in the upper back. It's also a great test for the mobility of the shoulder and how well we stabilize our shoulder blades during the movements. And the exercise on the right is just a basic overhead squat. But this time we're facing the wall. We use the wall as a barrier to prevent us from leaning forward. So it's a great test to see if we have good range of motion in our spine, in our ankle or hips. If we have a very tight thoracics and back shoulders, we're going to tip backwards. So we won't be able to squat properly. So these are very good movement tests to give us some basic idea how immobile we are. Just feel free to try them or challenge everybody in the house to see who's the winner in mobility. I would say usually young children will dominate this game.
I would agree.
Yeah.
We tend to develop poor habits as we get older, and it's quite interesting to see how mobile kids are and how quickly they can learn new skills and
Yeah.
those fine motor patterns. So we encourage you to try these two with your family and let us know how it goes, because there's a lot we can learn. And just because you may not be able to do these right now does not mean you will not be able to do them in the future. There's lots of things that we can help you with, things you can do from home in order to generate more mobility, move better, and then improve a lot of things on the way.
Yeah, exactly. Because our body is designed to adapt, right? Okay, so how to build exercise habits. So to change a lifestyle or develop a good habit is usually very difficult. That is why we need to take a very small, simple steps. If you set the goal way too high, normally you're just gonna give up easily. For example, if you want to run a full marathon, so you set your daily goal to run 5K a day. Since your goal is too ambitious, your body do not have enough time for recovery. Then you're going to increase the chances of injuries. Therefore, always progress slowly and gradually. Our body normally do not like drastic changes. Also focus on variety. Runners also needs to do strength training and stretching. That's a part of the conditioning program. They cannot just keep running day after day and expect a good result. Doing variety exercises can avoid repetitive injuries and just make it more exciting. Try to get your friends and family involved. You may have a group of friends doing yoga together on Zoom, right? Zoom call is not only for work, it can be for fun as well, right?
We're doing the same thing right now with a kickboxing studio, and 4 of my friends and I, we make ourselves accountable. We pick 2 times every week. So as much as it's about physical activity, right now we're all craving human connection.
Exactly.
And even though it may be virtual, it still feels really good to see a friend's face and share an activity together that you maybe do in person.
Exactly, and peer pressure really works.
It really does.
Okay, so make sure you include all the components in your exercise program. Missing any of these components may just give you a worse result or even impose higher risk of injuries. So don't always follow the same exercise routine because adaptation will happen. When adaptation happens, you will hit the plateau and your fitness will no longer improve. So make sure you change things up, every once in a while, such as different exercises, different intensity, etc.
One thing I really want to stress as well, because for me, before Christmas, I wasn't very active and I really got back into the swing of things in January. And number two, the point that Simon made, number 2, is gradually increasing the exercise duration and intensity, because that soreness of your muscles and the ache of your muscles when you haven't done something for a long time, it can almost take people out longer than it would normally, where your recovery time is a week long and then you're trying to do the same intensity again. So really be sure to gradually increase the intensity so your body's not too sore to recover and then you don't want to do anything the next day.
Yeah, I think just don't feel guilty if you're just exercising once a week.
Absolutely.
To start, it's a great start. Don't be too aggressive. Take more rest. When you feel good, you do it again. Don't feel guilty about it. As long as you keep moving in a slower pace, it doesn't matter.
It's very easy to look at Instagram and see all these fitness models and things like that and be so hard on ourselves. But
Yeah,
It's really just about moving every day in some
Mhm.
way, shape, or form and listening to your body.
Exactly. All right, so here's a little like sample exercise program I created. You can try it. This only takes you about 10 minutes. Just try to do it maybe just start with every week, once a week. Then you move on to 2 times a week or 3 times a week. Make sure it has 30-second rest in between from exercise number 1 to 5. So the first exercise is going to be starting up with 90 seconds jumping jack. Just give you a good warm up, a little cardio, and then you rest for 30 seconds, and you go right into a 30 minutes plank, which is good for core stability, the abdomen muscles. Then 30 seconds of wall push-ups, or even use the countertop for push-ups, just to build up a little bit of upper body strength. If you're capable, you can totally do a full push-up if you want. Then another 30 seconds for Superman, just like a back extension exercise. It's very good for posture. And after that, we go into 30 seconds lunges. Try to do 15 seconds on each side. It's a very good exercise for lower body strength and improve circulation on the legs. And then the second half of the exercise is actually more for relaxing and stretching. Do some foam rolling on your mid back for 90 seconds. Or if you have the arch, just lay on the arch for 90 seconds. It just helps you to loosen up the back and improve your posture. Proposal stretch is one of my favorite ones because we sit all days, our hip flexors are tight. So that's a great way to really open up the hips. Try to do it for 60 seconds, 30 seconds on each side. Corner pec stretch. Again,
One of
we're
my
typing.
favorite ones.
Yeah, we're typing every day. I'm holding baby every day. So yeah, the chest is always tight. And surprisingly, when I work on back pain, I always treat the chest.
Yep.
Yeah, because our back is tight. It's just because it's always in a stress position. It's actually the problem maker is right here. We're tightening up our chest.
Cell phone, the computer mentality,
Yeah.
it's that poor posture that's really causing a lot of those issues as well.
Yeah. If we are re-engineering our eyes to the back of the head, then it will fix everything. But it's not going to happen.
Maybe
Next look. So finish up with deep breathing as we discussed, just for relaxation, kind of like a meditation as well. Yeah, I really like meditation. That's what I do every day,
So for those of you on the call right now, what we will do is we will put together a PDF giving you instructions on how to do these exercises properly. And we will send that tomorrow with a copy of this recording and the presentation slides, just so you can try doing this at home and make sure you're doing it, as Simon mentioned, proper form as opposed to not proper form.
And it just gives you an idea how we include the 4 components into your exercise program. Yeah, so you can really change things up, but include everything that we discussed. Okay, so try to progress your exercise program every single week. Increase the duration of the exercises from 10 minutes to 15 minutes, or even increase the intensity of the exercises, such as changing from a front plank to a side plank, because side plank usually is harder. Forward lunges to backward lunges, because backward lunges is always harder. You can also shorten the resting time in between, reduce it from 30 seconds to 20 seconds, or try different exercises, see which one you like, but kind of target the same little muscle group. You want to target the upper body, the back, even the legs, of course. So make sure you cover everything. And more importantly, like really practice mindfulness, just feel free to extend the deep breathing exercises in the longer meditation process. 1 minute is too short. Try to extend it to 5 minutes or even 20 minutes. It just helps you to reduce stress and bring more clarity in life. Okay, so here's the some hacks that you can try at home for fitness. So your body is actually the best equipment that you have. there's tons of body weight exercise out there for you to follow just to make the workout exciting. Or you can try, or you really have different equipments at home, that including the dining chair, countertop, staircase, railings. You can carry a can of beans or tomatoes. Mason jar is always a good choice, but don't get the one that is huge because it's hard to grip. Because you already have some basic equipment at home. So if you really use them, be creative. You necessarily go out to buy weights. Again, you always encourage to buy the resistant tubing or the TRX or even stability ball to help you to just take the game to the next level.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So when we really look back on it and summarize, I think the key components that Simon is trying to articulate is movement is medicine. It doesn't matter what you do or how long you do it, but we really want you guys to try to move every single day, and bringing in those different components of strength, endurance, flexibility, and balance. Really keep those four in mind. And I think the second most important thing is form over function always. If you can only do 4 good reps. Don't do 10 poor reps, because that can lead to a whole other slew of problems. Again, mobility matters. Mobility is going to allow you to move. It's going to allow you to have proper form. So all of these 3 really go together. Varying your activities during the day is critical. If you don't sit too long, don't stand too long, all of those kinds of things. We want to make sure we're varying our body posture throughout the day. Pay attention to your body. If something doesn't feel right or there is too much pain while you're stretching, dial it back a little bit. Stay accountable. That's the biggest thing. I think even from looking at the practice we have at Honsberger is, again, it doesn't really matter what you're doing. It really matters that you're doing it frequently, and that you're staying accountable to yourself. A lot of it too, and we didn't have time to touch on this too much, but maybe this is a topic for the future. But proper sleep. When we sleep, we are recovering from the day before, from a workout. Our body is repairing itself. So if we're not sleeping properly, our body isn't going to repair itself and recover from these workouts that we're doing, especially when they get higher in intensity. So sleeping is very important. And that's a whole other topic in itself. Wouldn't you agree, Simon?
Oh yeah, I totally agree, because I have some tips actually. So make sure your room is pitch black and set the thermostat a little bit lower. That's the trick of sleeping better.
All right.
Yeah.
And also too, would you say putting those screens down a little bit before bed, less light in the bedroom, things like that?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Turn off all the electronics. You don't need them,
So really there, we're going to add in another one for you guys. Drink enough water. Maybe have a water drinking challenge with your family or your colleagues. Drinking enough water really helps the body move better. And regular body maintenance, as Simon suggested, is a great tool to help with any issues. A therapist or a personal trainer can really help you kind of fine tune the movements you are doing and help you work on any restrictions that you may have. So to thank you all for coming today, we really have a special offer for everybody on the call. We do offer virtual personal training assessments with a custom personal training program that comes along with it. So our philosophy is really to look at the biomechanical movement, which is your functional movement pattern. So before we create a personal training program for anybody, first of all, we want to see how they move. We want to identify any issues that the person may have. And as Simon mentioned, he mentioned this many times over the course of this call, is about posture. So we're really going to look at your posture and how that may impact your movement. From there, we'll move into a strength and conditioning assessment to really understand where your strength is right now and where your goals you may want to take you, whether that's being able to run a 5K, whether it's being able to do 30 squats in a row, whatever your goals are, that's really how we're going to develop a strength and conditioning custom personal training program for you. So regularly, this is $150. Right now, until the end of February, for everybody on the call, it will be $100. So that's a $50 savings. And we can leverage various benefits programs for these as well. So if you have massage therapy benefits or athletic therapy benefits, Simon can definitely help you out with this stuff too. Again, we're only offering this option virtually at the moment, and we can really help you find some of those at-home hacks that you may have lying around your house to make this training more effective. So to redeem this offer, my email is right at the bottom. It's robyn@honsbergerphysio.com, and simply just put in the subject line MPL webinar offer, and we'll be more than happy to help you with your needs and your goals. And really give you some results you can celebrate. So if you have anyone else in the family or a friend who may be interested in this offer as well, we will be honoring that as long as they mention the Markham Public Library webinar. So we do hope that a few of you take us up on this offer, because it's a really great value and you really get some one-on-one awesome attention from Simon, who really is a subject matter expert. Now that's all the time we have for today. We're bumping up close to 8 o'clock. If there's no other questions on the line, we do wish you a great evening. Big thank you to Simon for coming out tonight, for preparing a really great webinar with some great information, but also a big thank you to Jennifer and the Markham Public Library for having us as well.
Yeah, thank you for everyone.
All right, everybody. Well, I hope you have a great evening, and we wish you nothing but the best. Stay healthy, stay safe, and keep moving.
Perfect.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Robin and Simon. That's been
You're
a great
welcome.
conversation.
Have a good night.
Have a good night, everyone.
Bye-bye.